Hey, welcome back. Welcome back. I have missed you. Thank you for joining us. I am your host of Propaganda Wars, David Taylor. Welcome to the show. All right, so now what we're going to do, what I'm bringing you today is the next clip after a previous video that I put together. I put together a video about DOGE and the very beginning of Jesse Watters' conversation with the DOGE team. And I had intended to try to explain to you what terrorism is, because it's a good example because it comes right out of the mouth of Elon Musk. You can understand it because of the left-wing violence that has been perpetrated is terrorism. And I'm trying to explain how that left-wing bombing of Teslas, the Nazi symbols being etched into the Tesla cars, all of those left-wing violence that's going on right now, how it is, in fact, terrorism and should be treated as such. And before we continue, please like, share, and subscribe for more Propaganda Wars. Let's get into it.
Part 3. Here's the interview with Elon Musk and the rest of the DOGE crew. We finally asked the one question.
Yeah, and by the way, this is part 3, not part 2. I came out with part 1 in the first one, and we're actually skipping part 2 and going to part 3. All right? So here we go.
Question on our mind.
Who's big balls?
It's me.
That should be obvious. Why do they call you big balls?
I just said it as my LinkedIn username.
Okay.
Well, people on LinkedIn take themselves like super seriously, and they're pretty adverse to risk. And I was like, well, I want to be neither of those things. So I said it, and honestly, I didn't even think anyone would notice.
Yeah.
So what do you
LinkedIn
do?
is so cringe.
And my favorite part of him calling himself big balls, honestly, my favorite part of the whole thing was watching the media, the mainstream media, having to use big balls on TV. It was an epic troll. It was extremely funny and very epic in the trolling hemisphere. And I freaking love a good troll.
What does big balls do?
Right now, I'm working on some payment computer stuff. So one of our initiatives is to root out fraud and waste. And to do that, we started looking at the payment computers. And as mentioned earlier, there is no accounting of what payments actually go to in the payment computer. So you look at a specific line item, like $20 million, and you're like, okay, well, what is this money going to? And for the majority of payment systems, it's like, well, we don't really know. And
Yeah, like, what? That would be the response.
Is this the most basic responses?
Yeah,
yeah.
that's the most common response.
What do you say when people just say, I don't know?
Well, it's a huge cause for concern because the upstream thing, which is distributing the money, literally has no checks and no accountability to the actual American taxpayer. So it's a huge vector for fraud, waste, and abuse.
Do these people not respect taxpayer money?
I mean, there's no incentive to if you work in the government. I think the incentives will always decide the outcomes.
Yes.
Do you guys feel like you're putting yourself at risk?
Before he continues, I just want to say, think about that for a second, okay? They actually had what Elon Musk, I might do the part 2. Maybe I should have done the second one before I did the third one, but whatever. Elon found a machine that's basically a magic money machine is what he called it. And you can just put in the amount and where it's going, and it will send out that money because it's all coming from one account. So these are our employees, right, who are using our money, and they're doing whatever they're doing with it. And when they're asked, what are you doing with taxpayer money? Their response is, There's absolutely no accountability. That's what the biggest danger is of a large government. Okay. The larger the government, the easier it is for individuals and groups of individuals to escape accountability. And that's what they've been doing for decades. Let's continue.
By doing this because you're stirring up so much hostility by these people ripping us off?
100%. Well, we don't need to speculate about that. You can see online in the protests that they make that very clear. I mean, I've been hanged in effigy many times. And there have been people that have actively advocated at these violent protests for my death. And also advocated for the death of the people at DOGE.
I think the young folks of us have gotten hate mail, threats from reporters and the public alike. I think, speaking for myself, I dropped out of Harvard and came here to serve my country. And it's been unfortunate to see, lost friendships. Most of campus hates me now. But I think fundamentally, I hope people realize through conversations like this that reform is genuinely needed. And if there's one, I think this is important to say, if there's one group of people who really have a shot of success, it's the people here. They're up until 2 a.m. Monday through Sunday. DOGE does not recognize weekends. We're working all the time.
What inspired you to drop out of Harvard to do this?
There's a lot of reform that's needed. I think the value of this and the impact here is so much more vast than anything you could learn in a classroom doing computer science.
God bless that dude. All right. God bless that man right there. He dropped out of Harvard to serve his country. He is just as good as Pat Tillman, that NFL player who dropped out of the NFL, dropped his contracts to serve in the military in the time of need. He dropped out of Harvard. Think about that. To come and serve his country, and he's getting threatening emails. He's being burned in effigy. See, and this is terrorism right here. This is terrorism, okay? They're putting on a brave face, but he's being threatened. They're hanging Elon Musk in effigy. That puts a toll on you. Elon Musk has left or is set to leave any time now because of special circumstance. But they are trying, the terrorism is their effort to stop DOGE from finding all of the fraud and waste. I got marbles in my mouth. All the fraud and the waste. And so the political, the act of lighting Teslas on fire, burning pictures of him in effigy, all of these things, they hurt. They really do. These people are human. And it probably pounds into their head, and I know damn well Elon Musk is afraid for his life. He has to have bodyguards now wherever he goes. And I wish I had the clip, but there was a clip where somebody wanted to shake his hand, and he said, "I'd love to shake your hand, but I can't." Because basically everybody's trying to assault him and kill him and stuff like that. So they can no longer live normal lives. And this is terrorism. And this is all to stop our this is all to stop these brilliant kids. And I'll say kids, and I bet you $100, I bet you $1 million, every single one of these kids at this desk is smarter than me, smarter than you. So it kind of irritates me when they try to talk smack about how they're 19 and 20. There are some 19 and 20-year-olds that will run circles around anybody. Anyways, let's continue.
And you guys are sleeping here, I'm hearing. You guys are up all night. You have this meeting at 10 o'clock every Wednesday?
We'll probably go back to work right after this.
Yeah.
You're going back to work after this?
Yes.
Right.
It's almost 11 o'clock.
So that's early. That's early.
It's early? Can I go to bed? It's an incredible work ethic. You guys should be really, really proud of yourself.
Yeah, I'm in bed by like 11, and they're up until 2 in the morning.
Do good people come up to you and say thank you for doing what you're doing?
Absolutely. There are people in the State Department that will stop you, or all of the agencies that we've been to, that'll stop you in the hallways or write emails and say, I was scared to write this, or I don't know if you're interested in this. But they usually have great ideas. And if they often have the best ideas because they've worked in the places and they've been stifled by the bureaucracy for so many years. So one of the great things that, at least in my experience, and we listen to them and empower them.
So
Yes, in fact, I'd like to emphasize that because we'd like to just give a big thank you to all the government employees who are helping reduce the waste and fraud, because this is, we really couldn't do it without you. So
it's a group effort.
yeah, absolutely. So I'm not trying to sort of say all government employees are bad. That's absolutely not the case. It's just that, there actually just does need to be a serious effort to reduce the waste and fraud. And we're just making that happen. And a lot of people in the government are very glad to see it happen.
I think it's really important to recognize every single person around this table that's embedded within an agency is supporting that agency, whether they're working on systems or working through people. We are encountering droves of government employees who are missionaries, not mercenaries, who are actually here serving because they believe in what they're doing and they want to do things well.
That's awesome to hear. That really is. Patriotism is not dead. There are some patriots. Thank God they're not all mercenaries.
We are trying to empower them, and they feel empowered now to ask the question of why? Why aren't we doing this? What else can we be doing? How can we fix this? And I think agency by agency, it is filled with exceptional government employees, right? And when we give them the tools, when we give them the systems, and we leave behind systems to help them do their jobs better, that's the permanent change, right? And they're embracing that, not because it's new to them, it's because it's something they've always wanted to do. But for the first time ever, we're giving them the tools and the collaboration to be able to do that.
Yeah, it's because none of our politicians before this ever really gave a shit about us. Let's be real. The vast majority of our congressmen, our senators, all of our representatives really just are flat out mercenaries. That's why we have to hold them accountable at all times. Like a vicious dog, we got to have a choke chain around their neck. And anytime they get out of line, we need to yank that freaking choke chain like it's going out of style, because I'm telling you, the moment we give them any leeway, this starts all over again.
Important message. Yeah. That message needs to get out a lot more. I'm so glad you said that.
We have exceptional people at all of our agencies. Exceptional. I mean, they do a thankless job and they work incredibly hard.
I love to hear how collaborative it is with these people in these agencies, and it's not all conflict. Sometimes in the media, you always hear about conflict, and you guys are considered these ruthless suits that come in and scare people. But
Conflict is the exception.
There is conflict, but that is the exception. It's actually true of history in general. People study the wars a lot, but actually most of the time there wasn't war.
it's just not as exciting.
It's just not as exciting.
Right.
Exactly.
Well, for the TV guys, we like conflict, but in this case, we love the collaboration. So thank you guys. Thanks for allowing me this access in here.
All right, in other news, 100 days of President Donald Trump's second term means 100 days of Elon Musk and his effort to eliminate wasteful government spending.
So Rich Edson is live outside the White House with more on DOGE and just how much it has saved the American taxpayer and what its future looks like, Rich.
Yeah, that's right, Brian Ainsley and Lawrence. The Department of Government Efficiency and Elon Musk say they've already saved billions of dollars for U.S. taxpayers, $160 billion, according to the department, which breaks down to about $1,000 a taxpayer. Ways to go, though, to the $2 trillion Musk initially targeted. DOGE has slashed
$160 billion. And you know what? That's consistently $160 billion, if I'm not incorrect. I think that has a lot to do with contracts and stuff like that. So that's $160 billion that we won't be paying again anymore. This isn't, so they've cut that down, the whole budget, by $160 billion. So now all of the future budgets can be $160 billion less, and this is just the beginning. This is fantastic.
Federal programs, employees, and entire departments.
Is DOGE just getting started? This is a long-term enterprise.
It's a long-term enterprise because if we take our eye off the ball, the waste and fraud will come roaring back.
They can Doge when Democrats get back in power.
We're trying to have it be such that the funding is removed, so the grants are gone. So there's a lot of work required to restart the waste and fraud.
Musk.
Yes, the deep state needs to be crippled so badly that they will never, ever be able to regain power again. And even then, we have to keep a watchful eye on every single one of our public officials, because this evil will easily seep in to our very existence, just as it has now.
Special government employee status is scheduled to end May 30th. He also says he's going to be spending more time at Tesla. Democrats want him out now. They accuse DOGE of overinflating savings, cutting vital government services, research, and foreign aid. Yesterday, Vice President J.D. Vance toured a steel factory in South Carolina, where he said the Trump administration's first 100 days marks the golden age of American manufacturing and also oil production.
This has by far been the best 100 days in the history that I can ever recall a president ever having. He's actually doing what he's saying he's doing. There's none of this bureaucracy BS that he's blaming other people for his inability to get it done, which is what almost every single other president has ever done. Make no doubt about it. Giant government, big government is good for communists. It's good for the fraudsters. It's good for people who are trying to steal from you. The point is accountability. And this 100 days has by far been a beautiful sight, has been a magnanimous show of force by what can be done. You know, if anybody, I don't know anybody else has actually read Machiavelli's work. For some reason, I'm just pulling it out of my head right now. It's been a while since I've read it, but basically, the vast Machiavelli is. Anyways, basically, there are principles inside that book that almost every single politician listens to. They will promise you the world, but they won't change a damn thing. And that is one of the core principles to Machiavellianism. And the vast majority of these politicians are marbles in my mouth, are mercenaries. And that's why they follow this game plan. There is a game plan that works. Lying, cheating, all of that actually will work to get you to power. And that's why we hate our entire government, because that's all they've done. That's why Congress has got like a 17% approval rating, because probably only about 17%, I'd say less probably, but probably like 17% of our Congress is actually attempting to fulfill their promises that they made in their campaign speeches when they were trying to get elected. Everything else is bullshit. All of it, the rest of it is bullshit. And they're trying to shove it down your throats and make you think that they're trying to fight for you. The perception is the important part, not the actuality. Whereas this right here is the actuality and not the perception. Let's continue.
Now, to me, that marker means a lot of things for the state of South Carolina. It means a lot of things for this plan. It means a lot of things for America. Number one, 100 days means energy dominance. We have started drill, baby, drilling. It means cheaper gas, and it means America that is self-reliant.
As for President Trump, after that address last night at the University of Alabama, he is spending the weekend at Mar-a-Lago. Back to you.
Yep, so they're not going anywhere. It's just their leader's going to go back to one of his full-time jobs. Going to probably be there 1 or 2 days. Thanks, Rich. He's going to be there 1 or 2 days a week. They did bring up that one of the things that DOGE has done is their actions have led to the layoff of 283,172 job cuts. That is half of all the job cuts in the country. But it was always been the intent to thin out and lean out the federal workforce, which is 2.3 million people. Many of them took buyouts.
Yeah, to get paid through September. If you took that deal, you had to sign up, what was the beginning of February, and then you were paid through September. Many of those people left and got other jobs, so they're getting 2 paychecks now.
Well, I'm concerned really about if a new House comes in during the midterms or a new Senate. In 4 years,
implement this.
I feel like they're just going to put all this stuff put in place. So I'm just curious, when they do this big, beautiful bill, if they can put some guardrails in place where they can't just reallocate all this stupid spending on all this nonsense, wasteful gender studies nonsense.
That's why elections have consequences. That's why if you vote conservatives, this is what you get. If you don't like it, then you vote the other way. But Elon did say he put into place safeguards so that doesn't happen. When you take away a contract, in order to get another contract, you have to fill out all the paperwork. It takes time. So it would take a long time to get back to where we were originally. But you mentioned in the first hour the Iron Mountain limestone mine. It's this mine that's about an hour outside of Pittsburgh, and it's where retirement forms, folders, all the documents from people who work in federal government services when they retire. It takes about 6 months for that retirement to go through because all this paperwork is done by hand. It's
Yeah, I gotta do a video on that too. There's a giant cave, like that they use to store all the paperwork. Like literally, it's just a giant cave. And the reason why more federal workers can't be retired quicker is because they can only fit so many people inside that cave. That is literally the most retarded thing I have ever heard.
In manila envelopes, cardboard boxes, and there are 10,000 applications per month. So it takes a long time to go through everybody's files. But there are a lot of people that work at the mine. There's 700 plus people that operate 230 feet underground. So if they do close down this mine and make it all on computers, then to make it quicker, your retirement quicker, those people do stand to lose their jobs. So maybe we could train them to do the computer system.
So it's already happening electronically, and this can't be reversed. No one would want to. Here's what DOGE has done with the mines, and this is their game plan to modernize retiring and getting Social Security.
That's the mine. Look at that. Look at that. That's what their answer was for all of our paperwork. That's why they can only retire like 10,000 people a month. That's why. Is because look at that entrance. Let's continue.
If somebody wants to retire, they can't because it takes 6 months to compile the paper and carry the paper into a mine where it is stored. And also, all the calculations are done by hand.
Everything has to be
2025.
Reconciled, adjudicated. This is thicker than the Lord of the Rings trilogy.
Yeah.
And if I had to process this, I would rather do my taxes in the dark than have to go through this. And so what we're doing is we're bringing this process online with modern software. And I'm excited to share that as of tonight, we have 25 retirees going through an entirely online retirement process in the government for the very first time.
It sounds so simple.
Yes, and it's great collaboration with retirement services inside OPM. So this has always been their dream, and we're just here to help accelerate it.
90s, right? It sounds like something we'd be talking about in the 90s. Like, oh, this is our first, we have computers, and we have the first 25 people retiring.
All of the people that are complaining about DOGE in Congress, they didn't try to fix this. Obama didn't try to fix this. Joe Biden didn't try to fix this. All of them could have fixed this only because of Elon Musk and DOGE and Donald Trump. This is getting
But it's indisputable the gains that they've made. It's indisputable that now if you're going to want to get money from the government, you have to write what you're actually getting it for and be accountable after you get paid. This is certain things with systems, nothing to do with jobs, that are just gains.
And that young man that went to the mines, he showed you that thick stack of one person's retirement. That's one person.
Right.
I'm Steve Ducey.
I'm Brian.
Well, you saw it. And no, it wasn't the whole tail end of the interview. It turned out to be a little Fox synopsis at the end. But they made some great points like, oh my God, it's magic. You mean I can do this all online? Like it's a magic trick that nobody's ever heard of, although we've had the internet since at least 95. And it wasn't just the Democrats. Let's be real. It was the Republicans too. The Republicans didn't do anything about it. Everybody who isn't Team USA and isn't doing the best that they should and could be doing for our country needs to get the hell out of office. All of them. Republican, Democrat, Independent. You got to go if you are not America first. So that's it. That is terrorism right there. I'm glad I was just able to outline the whole terrorist angle and how the burning of Tesla vehicles is directly impacting our government and its functionality, and it's an attempt to politically sway the situation, which is by definition terrorism. So I know a bunch of these terrorists that have been going through the courts. These activist judges haven't been laying down the terrorism sentence like they should be. But I'll be real. I find that this is politically motivated. I don't care if it's a scratch. You scratched into Tesla or you firebombed a Tesla, a dealership. You should get 20 years for that. You should get 20 years at least in Guantanamo or Alcatraz. Magatraz. They're opening up Magatraz. So you know what? 20 years in Magatraz for anybody who is... Listen, and it's not even about Tesla. I'll be real. I don't even like electric cars. I much, much, much prefer gasoline-powered cars for lots of reasons. I mean, don't get me wrong. If they made like a 79 Corvette in an electric version, I guess that would be dope. But I mean, look at what we can do. I think all the cars should be diesel. If you really look into diesel, it really is the best for our planet. It's easier to produce. You know, there are lots of things about diesel I like, but I'm much more inclined to like gas-powered cars. They can't turn off a gas-powered car. They can't shut it off remotely. It's less control for the matrix and the people in charge, and that's what they hate. But that's what's needed. We are in charge. This is our country, the people, not the government. The government should be afraid of the people, and that's what both the people and the government have forgotten. That's exactly what they've forgotten. They forgot that the cornerstone to our republic is the First and Second Amendment. If you're a treasonous SOB, I'm more than down to locking you up and throwing away the key. We should bring back the guillotine. For traitors, I say we make it in a pay-per-view event. We use the guillotine. We make it a pay-per-view event. We make it for all ages. Everybody needs to see this, from kindergarten all the way up to the oldest of individuals. They need to see the consequences of turning on your country and turning on your fellow countrymen, like the vast majority of our elected officials have. If we just do it to a few of them, I think the rest of them will get the message and fall in line. Alcatraz or the guillotine, I'm actually in favor of either. Although I'm not really in favor of the death penalty, but that's an entirely different show. So if you enjoyed this, like, share, subscribe for more propaganda wars. Thank you very much for joining us. Peace.